that people should stay back, that we are going to have a very interesting topic. And I think all of the halls are having theoretical topic, but today we are having an instruction course on a very practical topic, which will help a lot of doctors who are coming into practice and setting up their practices. So a very good afternoon to all of you, and I thank you AIOC for giving us this opportunity to present this instruction course. We will be talking about how do we run a successful cataract practice, especially the tips for standalone practitioners. And I'll be giving, and we have, where is Dr. Deepa? And can I have all the panelists? So we have with us Dr. Vinay, who leads the Synergy Eye Center in Delhi. And then we have Dr. Ashish Lal, who is a very dynamic surgeon heading Lal 2020 in Delhi, in Gurgaon. We have Dr. Mayank, who is a roaring practitioner and is like king of Uttarakhand. And then we have Dr. Deepa with us, who's a very dynamic and a fast anterior segment surgeon. So I will be giving you a brief overview about the instruction course, and then we'll move forward. Is the presentation on the screen? Yeah. So I will be talking about that how do we run a successful cataract practice and what are the tips for a standalone practitioner. The slides are not moving. Yeah. So I think all of you would agree that standalone practice has a lot of advantages. You can practice the way you want to be, your own boss. You can make your own decisions with respect to infrastructure, the manpower, and the hours of work. And on the top of it, personalized private care is something which all patients appreciate, though it has a lot of challenges also. In last 2 decades, with corporate hospitals coming in the health sector of India, we are seeing a lot of change, and doctors are opting for these corporate chain hospitals because of job security and fixed remuneration. So why do we have this instruction course? A recently published article in IGO caught my attention, which reviewed almost 150 doctors coming out of residency of ophthalmology, and out of which, to my surprise, almost 40% of the doctors were either into solo practice or they were wanting to go in for solo practice. So despite its disadvantages of multitasking, almost 40% of ophthalmologists are still opting for a solo practice. Now, where does one begin? You have to start from scratch, lay down the SOPs, create an infrastructure, follow the statutory requirements, play smart and play safe, because we know that our competition is with the corporate chain of hospitals. Now, I think all of you would agree that for ophthalmic surgeons, cataract is still the bread and butter, and the instruction course will be talking about 2 important aspects of running a successful cataract practice. Very important to have a good refractive outcome in the cataract surgery, and Dr. Deepa will be covering about the biometry, how do we measure it right and give good refractive outcomes of the cataract surgery. Now again, with devices coming in, I think everybody deserves multifocality, and I will be covering that how do we incorporate these premium lenses in our practice. I think even after giving a very good visual outcome, it is very important that we have to raise the standard of care to increase the patient satisfaction. And I think this can be done by rigorous accreditation processes of NABH or JCI or QCI. And Dr. Ashish is going to guide us about that. How do we use this accreditation for our advantage and the growth of the practice? We all have seen a lot of prescriptions like this, and I think doctors are infamous for their bad handwriting, and this leads to a lot of errors. So it's time that we move to these digital prescriptions which are patient-friendly and they could be easily understandable. And apart from this, EMR, I think, is the way to go because it's environmental friendly. It can save you from litigation. It has easy record keeping. Though we all think that in a solo practice, we always wonder that EMRs are meant for bigger hospitals. And Dr. Vinay is going to simplify it for us that how do we use EMR in solo practice also, and they are still financially viable and user-friendly also. Now again, COVID has taught us that, the health is very, very important, and the penetration of health cashless in India is increasing. Almost 50% of claims are being settled cashless, and again, Dr. Vinay is going to teach us about that how do we impanel with all these cashless facilities. Last but not the least, I think we need to market ourselves. Though as doctors, we are being trained like horses. We focus on our clinicals and treating patients, and we rely on word of mouth publicity to get new patients and referrals. But I think social media is something like new yellow pages for doctors. Though we may feel that it's an extra work and we are very busy too, and this is not our cup of tea, but I think it is very important and high time for us to understand that social media has penetrated all sectors of our life, and it is high time that we start using these powerful tools to build up our brand, reach new patients, and grow our practice. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Deepa. Dr. Deepa is an anterior segment and cataract and refractive surgeon in Gurgaon, and she's a dynamic surgeon, a very fast surgeon. So she's going to tell us about that. How do we optimize the outcome of cataract surgery by doing a precise biometry? Dr. Deepa.
It's not connected. Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Parul, for such a lovely introduction. I think. उसमें uploaded भी है That's why I was telling you ना check कर
In the meantime, I think we can just take a quick poll. How many of you?
Yes, here raise a hand. How many are you in private practice? A solo practice? Yeah, quite a few.
And how many of you have an EMR of your own? Well, there's a market here.
Yeah.
And how many of you have your practices accredited by NABH? No.
Very few.
In the process. So
Well,
I
in my talk, I will say that accreditation is not as difficult as it seems to be.
Like.
And it's a very easy thing. It's an exam that we will pass. It's just that we have to go and give that exam. So we are going to talk about it later.
I would request, please feel free to ask any questions. You may feel that the questions are very silly, but we have all gone through, so please feel free to ask in case if you have any doubts. So this is a very practical session.
Into a refractive cataract surgery. If you do a very good, excellent cataract surgery and a patient has to use a -1 error, your cataract surgery is labeled as a failure. So the patients demand spectacle-free life, and with the advent of premium IOLs and robotic surgeries, it is becomes a very challenging situation. So we all know that approximately 1 mm of axial length error can give rise to 3 diopter error of refraction. And in a normal eye, and 1 diopter of keratometry error would lead to 1 diopter of IOL error. So this has been the biometry journey so far. We started with the ultrasound based machines, and now we have the optical biometers which are slowly improving with time. So coming to the ultrasound based biometers, these were based on the piezoelectric crystal that emits and receives high frequency sound waves, and basically divided into 2, the contact and the non-contact method. The contact method, it had various issues of like corneal compression, fluid excess, misalignment of sound beam, inappropriate eye type, it can lead to errors. And there is minimal risk of microbial inoculation. This is how it is done. The patient is asked to look straight in the red beam in the probe. Coming to the next, immersion scan. So this has been the gold standard for a longest time now, and it minimizes technician variables and gives better results. So the patient is asked to lie down on the table, and this is how it is done. We have to carefully look for good spikes and adjust gain accordingly. So I'll just be playing a short video. So water is injected in the cup, and again the patient is asked to look straight. We just have to ensure that the spikes are good and the gain is appropriate. So there are special cases in which even this can lead to erroneous results. So we did for a patient, we did both immersion and lens star, and you can see that the IOL power is absolutely the same. So if you are having a solo practice, immersion A scan is very good, and it is still valid to be used. With the companies bombarding you to take this biometer, that biometer, which are very, very expensive, A scan still holds good. So special patients like low vision, nystagmus, blepharospasm, they can be a problem. Patients with posterior staphyloma, macular lesions, vitreous lesions, in these patients we have to add on B scan, do a B scan along with A scan to give accurate power. Then in dense cataracts we have to increase the gain. And as we all know, silicone oil, aphakia and pseudophakia, we have to adjust according to the velocity of the sound. So pseudophakia, again, we have this formula to calculate and then we adjust. Post-refractive surgery, in these cases, I would suggest that we should go for an optical biometer, because this presumes that the cornea is spherical in shape, and we all know that posterior cornea is 1.32 diopters steeper than the anterior, which is further altered post-refractive surgery. Although we have been having various formulae to derive the IOL power, but still the optical biometers are preferred for these subset of patients. Now coming to the advantages of optical biometers and what are the current biometers which are available. So it measures the axial length from the vertex to the photoreceptor instead of ILM. Also, the optical biometry calculates optical axis instead of anatomical axis, which is more accurate. And the accuracy is more for optical, which is 0.12 millimeter. In pseudophakic, phakic IOLs, it is more accurate, and kind of IOL material basically doesn't, it has no relation with the, it has less impact on the measurement. In myopic eyes, staphyloma, silicone oil filled eyes, there is no need to convert or use any formulas. So these are the stack of options which are available with us. And there is a detail. It's a very short time for me to kind of go into each and every one. But yes, I've divided these optical biometers into three main parts based on the principle which they use. First of all, we had partial coherence interferometry-based biometers, and Zeiss IOL Master 500 is the prototype of the same. It uses an infrared beam, and it is taken from tear film and photoreceptor, and it uses laser interferometry to calculate the axial length. Just a second. So you can see this is the scan. It calculates one-zone keratometry and wide-to-wide diameter as well. Coming to the next one, which is the Lenstar 900. It is again based on laser interferometry, and it permits full A scan of the entire eye, and also it can take up retinal thickness as well. So you can see this printout. This is the measurement which it takes from the corneal surface, CCT, and you can even calculate retinal thickness with the same. Other OCI biometers can also, they have topographies incorporated like Aladdin and Galilei. So the key features are, the lens star will only measure when the patient fixates, and it is measured within 30 to 40 seconds. It improves the quality of data, and the measurement is axial. Its reliability is very good, and the chances of errors are very minimalized. So this is a printout of all the measurement which comes with LensStar. This can also be used, and in fact we use it for ICL measurements and LASIK screening and all. So this is the IOL printout. It has all the newer generation formulas like Barrett's and Oslin incorporated in it, which are excellent for post-refractive surgery, RK, keratoconus patients, etc. We can also seek ankle kappa for calculating post for multifocal patients. It has a Zuel Done excellent keratometry, which measures almost 32 points. The only two disadvantages which are there with Lenstar 900 and IOL Master 500 are that they cannot be, they cannot be done for used for a very dense cataract and hazy media. So almost for 30 to 40%, again we have to resort to immersion A scan. Also, they lack the reading of total keratometry. So this is taken care of now by Zeiss IOL Master 700. It is based on the swept source OCT technology, and it takes almost 2,000 scans per second. Others are Tomy 2000 and iStar 900, which are also based on the swept source technology. In this, you actually see what you measure. So the chances of errors are least. It has 3-zone keratometry, white to white, and you can actually check the fixation. In unusual eye geometries, like we can see if there is a tilted lens, and there are fewer refractive surprises because we can actually observe the foveal pit while taking the scan. So this is the eye. You can see a good foveal pit means the scan is correct. There's no foveal pit, so the scan is not correct, and which can actually lead to errors. Like in this case, there's almost a difference of 1 diopter difference in the IOL power. So now coming to another, we can also see if there is any retinal pathology to be in the patient of cataract surgery, which is very, very important. Sometimes we just miss, due to hazy media. So there are very few refractive surprises. You actually see what you measure, and the reliability is very high. And the most importantly, it can be done in very dense cataracts. Almost 90%, in fact 95% of cataract patients now we can actually do a IOL Master 700. So, and it just takes less than 40 seconds to be acquired. Just ask the patient, and you are done. To look in the light, and you are done. See, it's done. The repeatability is excellent, which has never been there for any prior biometers.
Deepa, you'll have to sum up,
Yeah,
please.
just the last few slides. So, and another very important topic that I would like to just touch up is the availability of total keratometry, which also incorporates the posterior curvature of cornea, which is there in this particular machine. And it also has Barrett's TK, which is customized for the same. So basically, for for the patients who have abnormal corneas, like post-refractive surgery, post-RK surgeries, and high myopic eyes, these newer generation formulas are excellent. Same is with the toric. So just wanted to touch up this one practical tip for the toric. So the people who don't have a true K, you just have to remember that if a patient has a with-through astigmatism and vertical meridian is steep and plus cylinder is at 90 degrees, TK would be lesser. So if the patient is having like 0.75 or 0.9 cylinder, you might not go for a toric. And similarly the other way around. So this is how the toric calculator was there. Again, angle kappa can be measured. And further, we now have aphakic refractive measurement like on-table biometries, which is being developed. So to summarize, biometry in its current stage is most accurate and turned cataract surgery into a refractive surgery. Immersion scan still works best for most of the cases, more than 90 degrees. And calculating accurate corneal power and proper acquisition of the scan has no substitute. And the latest IOL biometers like IOL Master have newer software to handle these cataracts and special situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deepa, for a very extensive talk. I just wanted to highlight the one important message which was there in the last slide, that a lot of times when we are starting our practice, it is very difficult to buy these expensive optical biometers. So what Dr. Deepa very clearly mentioned, that 90% of the time with immersion you are going to be right. So don't think that if you don't have an optical biometer, you can't do a very good cataract practice. Till last 2 years back, I was doing all kind of lenses with immersion. So you have to be very, very confident with your immersion take couple of readings, for your keratometry so that you are bang on. And in case if you are in doubt or you have a very demanding patient, maybe you can send your patient if you don't have the optical biometer. Yes, optical biometer is the ideal, but you can still have a very good practice with immersion. This is what I wanted to highlight. And with the newer biometers coming in optical, I think we have a lot of advantages of, Vinay, want to add something?
Yeah, I would like to add, I think the most important part of the presentation was that optical biometry is not a must. Immersion works almost as well, and that's the gold standard. So don't be hesitant of using premium IOLs, which Parul is going to be talking about in the next presentation. If you want to put premium IOLs, make sure your biometry is good. You may do it yourself if you want to, train your person to do it well. And most important thing, don't promise them perfect results. I think that is one thing that we always get carried away. The results are very good, but still the things can go wrong. Always be aware about refractive surprises. So always be careful about what you promise, and I'm sure Parul will be talking about that as well in the presentation.
Yeah.
So next, Dr. Parul will be presenting about incorporating the premium IOLs into our practice. Anyone has any questions with this talk, we can just take one or two, or otherwise we'll just... And again, we would like that you people can interrupt the presentations anytime if there is some questions. So we want it to be more interactive rather than just a one-way didactic lecture.
The most important is that time for contact immersion is gone. So if you are practicing in contact, at least you have to shift to immersion. That was the entire point of the topic. If you are not having optical, doesn't matter, but at least you should have immersion in 2024. No contacts.
So again, thanking the AIOC once again, I will be talking about how do we incorporate the premium lenses in our practice. So in last several decades, we have seen a lot of advancements happening in the surgical techniques, in the machines, and most importantly, the lenses, which we have evolved from the rigid lenses to the foldable lenses, and we had multifocals, we have torics, and now we have the trifocals, ERV, and the EDOF lenses. So the advancement in the technology and the machines have actually made the cataract surgery a refractive surgery. And the goal of refractive surgery is to successfully eliminate the need of prescription glasses and give our patients the full range of vision. So why do we need to incorporate these premium lenses in our practice? I think all of you would agree presbyopia is pain. I am a hyperope myself, and ask me, बहुत मुश्किल होता है बिना चश्मे के कुछ भी करना. And I think with increasing lifespan, 60 is the new 40. People are wanting to indulge in different kind of activities at 60 years of age, and they want full range of vision. We are seeing a lot of cataract in younger people because of diabetes, because of steroid intake, because of trauma. There has been invasion of digital devices in all sectors of our life. And I think because of these reasons, all patients deserve multifocality. And if we are focusing on the patient satisfaction, it is very important for us to incorporate these premium lenses in our practice. And most importantly, if we are not offering these to our patients, we'll be left behind because we know that our competitors are. So patients' wish list is kind of non-ending. They want multifocality, they want binocularity, they want full range of vision, they want freedom from glasses without any hassles of glare and halos. So it's so good, Patients' ki wish list bahut unending hai. So it's not 6x6, patients want N6 also, and the options that we have to give to them are the enhanced monofocal lenses, the multifocals, the trifocals, the EDOF, the ERVs, and we have toric lenses on all these platforms. So why do we hesitate? The most important reason is the dysphotopsias, the glare and halos which are caused by these multifocal lenses. We also know that there is a distribution of light which results in visual compromise due to loss of contrast. And also these lenses do not give 100% freedom from the glasses. The another reason is the amplified problems of these premium lenses if you have a pre-existing dry eye, or if you have a residual cylinder, or if there is a refractive surprise. And then what happens, the post-operative chair time increases, and you end up having a dissatisfied patient. And many times what happens, your dissatisfied patient is not going to come to you, he's going to seek another opinion. So in your practice, you end up seeing dissatisfied premium lenses of other doctors, which make you wonder that is it worth all the headache that we start putting these lenses? And last but not the least, the cost of lenses is very, very important. We know that these lenses are very very expensive, not covered by the insurance. Many a times patients have to pay out of their pocket, and when they are paying, they demand a lot. So we have to be careful about these things. So how do we overcome our hesitation, and where do we start? We have to brace ourselves, get the basics right, choose wisely whether it is the right patient, the right formula, or the right lens. As Dr. Deepa very clearly pointed out, that precision for biometry is very, very important. And I think it is very important for us to understand that biometry has to be done on an untouched eye. You have to have minimum of 2 readings for your keratometry to have these premium lenses. Again, as we spoke, that optical has a lot of advantages, but you can still begin your premium lenses practice if you have an immersion biometer also. And if you are in doubt, you can refer your patient, tell them कि आपको एक test करा के आना है, and trust me, they come back with the optical biometry report done from the other center. If you have an optical biometer, you have to look at the angle alpha and kappa to have better optimal results. Now, retinal OCT is something which is a mandate for all my patients who are undergoing cataract surgery, and this can help you pick up subtle EMTs or subtle VMTs or epiretinal membranes, which could be a relative contraindication for these premium lenses. Now again, last thing, you would like to have a patient who has 6/6 vision and N6 is complaining of khujli pani. So it's a good idea that you take care of all your MGDs, lubricate them, give them hot compresses. Whenever possible, repeat your biometry before and after treatment of ocular surface disorder to have good results. Now, you have to choose your patients very wisely. So look at the patient profile. Younger patients may be difficult to please. Males are, again, difficult to please. Unilateral cataract, you have to be very, very careful because patient will always be comparing the normal eye with the operated eye. When we talk about refractive errors, I think hyperopes are the best bet. So if you are beginning to implant these lenses, the best bet would be a housewife or an elderly lady who's just going for kitty parties and is a hyperope. That's the safest patient profile that you can choose for. Be careful if you have a fussy patient, and in case of any ocular comorbidities or bad ocular surface, you have to be little wary. The preoperative discussion is something which is of foremost important. You have to tell your patients about the loss of contrast, the issues of glare and halos, prepare them for both eye surgeries in a short span of time for better neuroadaptation, tell them all the pros and cons, do not overpromise. So if you spend sufficient preoperative chair time, trust me, the postoperative chair time will definitely be minimized. And last but not the least, very important to talk about the cost factor, because this is something you have to tell them preoperatively. Last thing you would like that you have done a surgery and patient hasn't paid for these premium lenses. Now, many a times we have these counselors who are very enthusiastic and you want to use कि आपका चश्मा बिल्कुल हट जाएगा. So please warn them to and refrain them from using these words, freedom from glasses. Rather, tell them that they have to be telling about reduced dependency on glasses or maybe increased range of vision. Now, choosing a formula, I have a preference for Barrett. I think Barrett gives very good results, and you have to go in for either first myope or an emetropic power. Talk to the company people; they'll tell you which power to select for a better result. And if you're doing a EDOF lens or a modern day monofocal, maybe you can opt for a mild myopic in the second eye. Now, again, very important, you have to have a lower threshold for toric lenses whenever you are opting for these premium lenses. So even if the cylindrical number is 0.75 or more than that, you have to opt for a toric lens. You have to be proficient with your phaco. This is something which is unsaid when you are beginning your premium lenses. So I'll be quickly running through a few clinical examples. This was a 32 years old male with a unilateral traumatic cataract, a sales representative who drove vigorously, who wanted good range of vision. So I implanted a Vivity lens. And 1 month post-operatively, patient was 6/6 and N10 in the operated eye. The other patient was a 45 years old young lady with the posterior subcapsular cataract, a home baker. She did not drive. She liked to bake and embroider, so I implanted bilateral synergy, and at 3 months post-operatively, her vision was 6/6 and N6. Now, this was an interesting patient, a 67 years old retired IS officer. Her brother had a trifocal lens and was deeply bothered by the halos and glare. She loved to night drive, but she was a big no-no for any kind of trifocal lenses or lenses with rings. though she wanted less dependency on glasses. So again, I implanted a Vivity and a Vivity toric in the other eye. Post-operatively, patient had good 6/6 vision, near was N8. Patient drove comfortably, plays bridge without glasses. In our office, actually these EDOF lenses in your office, the patients are going to read N6, though they require an additional 1.5 when they are at home. This was a 68 years old female, retired principal from school. Again, she loved to drive during the day. She loved to paint and read. So I implanted a bilateral panoptics lens, and at 3 months follow-up, patient was 6/6 and N6. Initially, though, she complained of glare and halos, which you have to tell to your patient that neuroadaptation will happen, the glare and halo will settle down, and now she's happy. Last example, so this was a pseudophakic one. I operated in 2016 when I was just doing simple cataract surgeries, monofocal lenses. Now he wanted a little better lens, so I implanted an EDOF lens in the other eye. Counseled him, most importantly, not to compare the two eyes. This is very, very important. At 3 months follow-up, he had 6/6 vision, both eyes put together with a N8, drives, uses his GPS, and is very, very happy. So I think EDOF lenses are something which are very forgiving, though they are very expensive, but we have variety of lenses to choose from. They have a good defocus curve. If you have a little off angle alpha and kappa, the retina is little off, maybe still you can go in for these EDOF lenses. They have a very good landing zone. But most importantly, I think, where do we have to say no? This is something we all have to be knowing, because we can't be over enthusiastic and sell all these premium lenses to all our patients. So patients who have retinal diseases, who have advanced glaucomas, who have very large angle alpha and kappa, a very bad ocular surface are some things which I think I would like to avoid. And again, a very fussy patient, you have to be extra, extra careful. So I think I would like to end by saying that do not hesitate. It's time that you take your plunge, be proficient with your biometry and your surgical outcomes, choose your patients wisely, choose the lens wisely, and you can give your patient a successful outcome. Thank you so much.
Very nicely presented, and I think more important thing to know is when not to operate a multifocal, and that she has very clearly mentioned. And pre-op chair time should be always more than the post-op chair time. So now Dr. Ashish will talk about accreditation advantages. And how should we go about
Ashish,
it?
Let me just give a brief introduction. Ashish is a dynamic retina and a cataract and a refractive surgeon. He runs a very successful and a large volume practice in Gurgaon. So he'll be talking about how do we accredit our hospital and have the advantage of accreditation.
Friends, when we talk about accreditation, the first thing that comes to our mind is too much of documentation, too much of headache. But do we really need it? Now, if you look at it, it is patient safety and quality care. Now, NABH says that they want patient safety and quality of care, but as solo practitioners, we feel that we are actually working towards quality of care. We are so caring. We take each and every step to give the best clinical outcome. We are good surgeons. Then why do we need this documentation of NABH? So NABH is an autonomous body which has been set up to establish and operate accreditation programs for healthcare organizations. Now, what is the hospital perspective as a solo practitioner? Can I do without it? I'm actually providing good quality care. Now, the first thing as a solo practitioner is to survive. We have to survive the competing world, we have to survive the corporate world, and we have to not just survive, but we need to even thrive. So we cannot survive without accreditation. We have to have this accreditation. That is my crux of the presentation. Why? Now, there are a lot of public sector schemes like CGHS, ECHS, Haryana government, Ayushman Bharat, and lots of other, depending on the area where we are working. Now, all these empanelment wants you to have accreditation. Then the insurance companies. Now they've come up that it is not mandatory, but still they require an entry-level NABH accreditation to have them on panel. Now, cashless facility, we need to have it, because if we don't have it, the patient will choose you first, but if you don't have these facilities, he'll go to another doctor. We are not indispensable. We may be good doctors, but people will not come to you just because you're a good doctor, but they would also want that all these cashless facilities should be there with you. So if you want to thrive, you have to have accreditation. Now then comes economics. Is it financially viable for a solo practitioner? Now, if you look at it, if you have NABH, you have a better pricing. You will get at least 15 to 20% better pricing. And if we see it over the whole year, the amount of money that we are spending on accreditation and on infrastructure development and on manpower, that will be taken care of by this increased pricing. Now, there's a lot of paperwork, filing, registers, documentation, and a lot of headache on it. There are a lot of quality improvement initiatives that we need to do, standard operating protocols. You have to have better OT, laminar flow, committees, documentation. The case file, again, is a big thing. You need to sign on all those pages, the MOUs. But can anybody guess what is the most important advantage that I feel is that sometimes if you are in a soup, like it's a blessing in disguise. For example, you have an end-off. So medico-legally, you are very strong. Your case file is complete. You have the OT registers complete. Your OT is properly functioning. The OT culture had gone on time. So if you are doing all these documentations as a part of your routine process, in case of any problem, you can easily get away with it. Now, what other advantages as a byproduct? It's a marketing world. You can market yourself that you have the best quality care. Then you have international recognition. If you are at a place where there's a lot of medical tourism, this can be a tool. Then quality eye care. We all are focusing towards quality eye care, for which we say that the surgical outcomes have to be excellent. There is no, nothing beyond that. But the quality is not just surgical outcome. You have to take care of the human errors that can occur. So all these documentations will help you to minimize those human errors. The surgeon is good, but anything that goes wrong outside the surgical room has to be taken care of, and it is taken care of by all these initiatives, though at a very minor level. You see, even if you have a good protocol for the sterilization, that also works in your favor because you are not doing it. Your staff is doing it. So there's a lot of training of your staff. The staff has, because of all these, we've started training, and the things that we were expecting from them, we are training them, we are telling them, and we are asking them to demonstrate to us. So that way, it comes as a habit to them. So this training part in accreditation is also of good advantage to you, and it will save a lot of your headache. And in fact, I have seen that we used to have these fire things with us, but we never knew how to operate them. Because of NABH, we started having training sessions, and we know how to get ourselves prepared for any kind of emergencies. So finally, I would say that to minimize human error, the quality care and patient safety, you have to have an accreditation with you. The surgical skill is paramount, but these things are, again, very, very important. You can have a community confidence, as these services have credentialed medical staff. You can benchmark with the best. Even if you say it is an advantage to the government, they can standardize healthcare systems. For consumers, obviously, the hospital introspects. The hospital takes care of the standard of care. So it is good for the patients. The rights of patients are respected. Everything is, clear and transparent. The tariff is transparent. You are also transparent. You give less discounts. Everything comes on paper. So benefits for staff. The staff is more happy. There's continuous learning. There's good working environment. There's good leadership, efficiency, competency. All of this works to your benefit, besides to the regulatory bodies as well. So the conclusion is that accreditation cannot be ignored. You have to enjoy the process and make use of it to your advantage. So take home, I would say that it is easy to get accredited. Just take care of a few statutory compliances when you are setting up your practice. The other initiatives, not at all difficult. There are a few chapters which you have to actually adhere to when you are preparing for this. There is more paperwork than actual work. So teach your staff. They will continue to do that paperwork and help you out with it. So I would say that it is an exam that you have to give, and you will pass for sure. Maybe with a supplementary, you might have to change a little bit during the first exam, but you have to pass and you will pass. Thank you.
And thank you, Ashish, for covering this topic in such an interesting manner. I think in today's practice, accreditation is something that we have to go in for. The advantage Dr. Ashish has beautifully pointed out that it is of help to the patients, to the staff, and obviously to the growth of the practice also. And I know we always wonder that how will we take out time out of the practice to do maintain all these registers and do the extra paperwork. But once it comes into your practice, it's not that difficult. And something keep doing it. So it's not that you're preparing for the exam at the 11th hour. So you make a practice, make it a habit, and it's not that difficult. And it is something that we all have to go in for. Anybody has any question? Sir? Sir?
His question is that is Ayushman Bharat viable with this You are absolutely right. Ayushman Bharat gives us very less money, and we have a lot of expenses when we have all these NABH. But what we need to understand is that Ayushman Bharat, it is viable only if it is 10 to 20% of your practice. Your 80% of the practice has to take care of all your expenses. And this Ayushman Bharat is mainly, I would say, a benefit to the patient or some corporate social responsibility that you are towards the center. It is not for, growing or thriving on your practice. Yeah, you have to be intelligent, and it should be just 5 to 10% of the practice, and 90% should take care of your expenses.
So the target population is not for Ayushman Bharat, but once you are doing NABH, your target population would be premium patients who would be coming to your hospital after seeing that Apka NABH hai, then you'll be coming to your center. Ayushman Bharat would be just part.
Yeah, patients have become very intelligent. They definitely notice that, okay, you are accredited, and, they notice all these feathers in your cap. I think now we'll move on to the next topic, which is again
Yeah.
No. You noticed that was a marketing strategy. Probably he'll be telling us there are people who are coming with Save In and Bajaj Health Finance, where they say that you can have EMIs. So it was something like that. Otherwise, it's not that we ask the patient to get operated, and once he has the result, then he'll pay. That will be a big problem.
You have an eagle's eye, huh? I must say. Okay,
Nowadays, EMIs can be constituted even for surgeries.
So we will have another important topic. Dr. Vinay will be presenting. So Dr. Vinay is a retina specialist trained from AIMS, and he runs a big chain of hospital called Synergy Eye Center in Delhi. And he will be, I think, he was one of the reasons why I incorporated EMR in my practice, though I had a lot of resistance कि मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगी. So let's hear it from Vinay about the EMR and the TPAs.
Thanks, Parul, for adding me to this session. And, it pays to have a bad handwriting. So I came in practice in 2001 and 2002. I incorporated EMR because my handwriting was horrible. So, and we were two of us together. And I incorporated, my partner was resistant to it. And then came NABH. And because NABH requires so much of documentation that everyone in my center had to then ultimately incorporate EMR. So I was afraid that Parul is going to cancel my talk because it has already been proven that you need digitalization of the records and you need accreditation and TPAs. So I think that's a no-brainer now that Ashish has done my job easier. So we know that we need EMR, we know electronic records, and we do need cashless facilities for our patients. So just an off thought, I have got another model that we work on, that there are people come to my center and they use my facilities. So even those beginning practitioners who don't have accreditation or someone, another model can be that you have your OPDs and you can run your OTs at other places which are already accredited also. So that's another option that some beginners can have. But of course, ultimately to have your own center, have your own place is the best way to move forward. So you should all try to add on EMR, TPAs, and the other things into your practice as soon as you can. So let's see how we can do it and what are the challenges that we face. So let me start with the TPAs. Now, as you know, patients with medical insurances are becoming more and more, and soon they will be almost 100%. We keep talking about, say no to cashless because it's a pain for us and this and that. Every now and then there'll be someone talking on WhatsApp groups. but we all know it is practically not possible to say no to cashless. Though it will make our life very easy. Paisa lo, let the patient go and take the reimbursement. It is not practically possible. Avoiding cashless may mean less cash. So face it, you have to do it. It's a service industry now. Medicine, ophthalmology is not only a medical practice, it's a service industry. We have to give service to our clients, our patients, make their life comfortable at the cost of making our life a bit more miserable, but they will come to you only if you're making their life simple. So we have to do cashless, and the earlier you adopt, the better it is for you. So what all you need? You need to be registered with your local medical authority. So whatever it may be, nursing home, cell, or whatever that is there, because it has to be a recognized center. The facilities have to be adequate and required as per legal norms. All the legal compliances have to be met. And a good quality control system has to be in place. Now, these 4 things are anyway required for having a good practice, for your medical legal safety and other things. So these anyway you should have. And many times, because there's no pressure of getting the TPAs, we tend to cut corners there, which we should never do. The only thing that it adds is an extra staff that is required, 1 or 2 or 3, sometimes more, to take care of all the hassles of empanelment, pre-authorization, billing, follow-up, short claims. There's so many hassles that come along with it. But we are into business of medicine. So business means hassles. We have to take care of those business hassles also. Now, there's a new scheme launched by the IRDA, which is called Cashless for All. You might have read about it. So earlier, the TPAs would refuse a patient who was not in a network hospital. But now they say that every hospital which is registered with authorities can provide cashless to the patients. You have to inform the TPA at least 48 hours before the procedure. And what the TPA does is, on a case-to-case basis, they enter into a small contract with you. So for that, you should have all the documents and paperwork ready with you. So if you don't have an empanelment, they'll be asking certain documents. Have that ready so that you can immediately talk to them and have a good negotiation with them to try to get a better rates. Now, once you have a few of these cases, it becomes easier for you to get into a network of their panels also. So that's the next thing. You should have a very well-defined tariff list that you should share with the TPAs. Accounting should be very, very good, and you should preferably be digital uploadation of the bills because they insist on that, and your account keeping is better with that. Dedicated staff to get the empanelment done, get the GIPSA and the other things for you. Dedicated accountant to make the bills as per their norms, submit the bills on time, chase the bills when the payments come to reconcile. So all those challenges are there, but you have to have someone in place. And in case a patient is going for, say, like Parul said, going for upgradation, there's a skill in which you are going to ask him for upgradation. Don't push him for upgradation. Let the patient demand an upgradation. The moment you try to push him for upgradation, the patient is going to eat up your head. So tell the patient these are the options. Your insurance is going to cover this. We are okay with doing this. If you want that, then we can always do something better, but then you'll have to pay an extra price for that part. So let the patient ask for upgradation rather than you pushing for an upgradation. So therefore, you have to counsel your counselors very well that they should not push the expensive packages to the patients and create headaches for you. Now, anyone has any questions about TPAs before I move on to the EMR? Yeah. Mike?
So I'm a second generation ophthalmologist and I'm from a very small city called Dhure. Since for initial 3 years of my practice after joining my father, I was going with regular OPD flow. Since last 1 year, I have focused on insurance patients. Approximately, I have operated 112 cases till the date, but still I'm not able to get the TPA. I have mailed many times to all those TPA companies, but I don't get a good response. So on the other hand, some third parties are contacting me that we'll do all the procedure and we'll take 30,000, 40,000.
So see, the problem is that the TPAs were acting very pricey so far. The advantage of being in a small place is that you are the boss out there. Since you have got patients coming to you and TPAs are entering new, you can still dictate terms to them. People in Delhi or Gurgaon, we have a disadvantage because there are so many competitions around us. But fortunately now with cashless for all coming in, we hope that the TPAs will get more amenable to getting people because they cannot refuse a thing now. So if you apply on cashless for all, and they have to give two, three, 4 times, they will give it to you, slowly it will come in. So there is a cartel that they have which we have to break, but unfortunately that's the way world works. So we'll have to be.
At the time of empanelment, they are asking for 30% discount and 40% discount in actual bill.
Yeah.
So how to tackle that?
So that's why I said you have to have a guy who can kind of interact with them, and those are tough decisions you have to make. So to see how much of business are you getting from there, and this is unethical what they do, but that's a fact of life somehow.
Rather than empaneling with them, can I go for just reimbursement like what I'm doing for
in a
last 1
smaller
year?
town, it may still work, but bigger cities, patients do not want the hassle of claiming
See,
the
आपका
money.
time
They
भी
want to
आएगा.
go
See,
cashless.
the moment your competitor is offering that service,
Yeah.
the patient will shift to that part. Because believe me, all of us are the same level of cataract surgeons. No one is supremely better than the other. So why won't he go to a place where he gets better services? So unfortunately, it's a service industry. You have to take it as a service industry. If there are 2 hotels nearby, one hotel is offering a service, the other hotel will also have to offer that kind of a service. So the time of that high-headedness of, I'm the big shot, it doesn't work, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
So now sorry, yeah.
I was doing at Cataract care. I have almost all the insurance. Few are not there. And the patient as well, they don't want to get reimbursement out. What we do, we take a check.
Yeah.
All reimbursement, everything, all paperwork we only do. And we just tell them whenever you get the money, let us know. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's a model that can work. At Pristine, people used to do that. Unfortunately, the insurance people don't like that kind of a model. But yeah, whatever works for you. But then again, depends. If you're in a smaller town, you can manage those things. But if my competitor is out there who says, I don't need a check, I'll get a cashless for you, why would he give me a check and
but
risk
that's
that?
an option, I know a couple of people who,
Yeah.
even in Delhi NCR, they are opting for this. So this is, I think, whichever works for you, but you have to, give that facility to the patient, whatever way you can work it out.
So now coming to the next part of the presentation is EMR or electronic medical records. So I think most of us know what EMR are. So basically they are electronic collection of all the records. So it will have a demographic data of the patient, including the contact detail, which is very, very important. Mayank is going to be telling you about marketing and how we should market. But that is to get patients from outside to come to you. Now, what we have to do is those who have come to you already, give them a wow experience and make sure you retain those patients. And that is, I feel, is the best form of marketing. So it can keep history in its place, examination findings, and you can even link up many machines so that all the investigations are also added to your EMR also. You have a drawing tools also in this. So you can make some drawings the way I'm kind of making some drawings here. You can use a pencil, pen, or you can even use a mouse or whatever. So the problem that we had is, if you're making some drawings, how do we make the diagrams? So all those can be done on the EMR also. Now, it maintains the data on a computer or on a server, which is shared by multiple terminals. The beauty of EMR is that one person, say reception is going to make one entry, your optometrist is going to make another entry, then you are going to make another entry, then counselor is going to make another entry. So everyone is sharing that file. So therefore, it makes your life very easy. And it can be accessed from various terminals. Backup and retrieval of data is very, very easy. Now, why don't we people adopt an EMR? First of all, what's the need to change? Kaam chal raha hai, yaar, I'm doing business, I'm happy. Why should I necessarily change the things? Second is, it might be very expensive. Why should I spend that money on this thing? Take it from me, if you invest on EMR, you will recover your cost within 2 to 3 months of putting the EMR. That's a guarantee to you. If you don't get it, take it from me. EMR is going to pay you money back with so many more things. So don't let cost be the factor there. Yeah, there is a technical staff that you would need who's going to manage all the initial glitches that are going to be there. It may be a bit difficult to train the doctors and staff initially, but then again, I'm telling you my own experience, when it comes to it, when you have to adopt it, people will adopt to it. People think that this is going to slow down the workflow. Actually, it doesn't. It actually hastens up your workflow, which I'll be telling you about later. So what are the advantages? First of all is that you give a printout to the patient. The biggest advantage is they don't have to try to decipher your handwriting. Plus, Nowadays, the government keeps telling you about putting a generic name and so many things which you cannot write when you're writing a handwritten thing. It has to be legible, written in capitals otherwise. So when you've got a printout, everything is taken care of. You can even put it, like I put an alternative salt name, generic name, everything comes predefined. The frequency, the number of days, everything is predefined, can be bilingual. It is more impressive for the patients to have a printout in hand. Legally, it's much safer. And you retain a copy of the records with you, whatever you're writing, giving to the patient. Otherwise, the patient can claim that you have done something, you've written something, but don't have any records with you. Here, you have got a record. Some people make a carbon copy and give a written prescription. That is very difficult to maintain those records. So EMR keeps you maintain the records also. Legal compliances and NABH becomes very important because NABH requires so many things to be written out there. You cannot write in every prescription. Without EMR, you cannot get NABH. That's very clear. Helps in cashless, minimizes the mistakes. Patients are more satisfied. Records retrieval we have talked about. You can even control your finances better with this. You can link up your billing and everything to that. You can see how many patients you have seen. The pilferages are going to go down. Patient engagement becomes much better. You can use that to educate the patients also, showing them the images on the screen when the patient is coming to you. Like I show them the previous and current OCT, they can see the decrease in edema or increase in edema, VMT going down. There's so many things that they can see out there, which is much easier for them to understand. Better patient retention, you can use it for research purposes also. Predefined format for NABH I told you about. Seems slow in the beginning, but in the long run it is much, much faster. Today, if my EMR shuts down for 10 minutes in my OPD, मेरे हाथ पैर फूल जाते हैं. I don't know how to see the patients. So it's actually makes your life very, very easy. You can retrieve the patient's data to follow up with the patients. You can even give them the next scheduled appointment from the EMR only, so the patients are more likely to come back to you for the follow-ups. You can send them a reminder that your appointment is due, so you come back to us. All these things are going to increase your revenues, your patient satisfaction, your patient care, the patient follow-up, the results will become better, everything will become better. Now you can also integrate with WhatsApp. I'll be showing you about that, how we do that. Now before that, there's another system called hospital management system, which is the big brother of EMR, in which EMR is only a part of patient's medical records, but it has got other things also. For example, appointment, billing, accounts can be done from that, counseling, IPD, consent, discharge, TPAs, documentation, everything can go onto that flow. So I come out from my OT, the moment I come out, the discharge is ready, I just sign the discharge and I finish the job there. Pharmacy, opticals, lab can be linked to this. CRM, the customer relationship management, because you can send the regular SMSs or WhatsApp to the patients. Audit compliance and NABH, everything is taken care of. Pharmacy, IOLs, inventory, all those you can manage in that. HR management and finance you can manage. Revenue management. I have a lot of doctors who come and use my facilities. There are about 20 doctors who come there. We have a record for each and every doctor, which patient paid how much, and we can give them their revenue share based on that. Even for the credit patients whose payments are going to come after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, whenever the payments comes, we reconcile, we make the payment in that time. Everything is transparent and visible to everyone. The waiting time monitoring you can do so that you know how much time patients are waiting, so you can improve your systems. Queue management can be done. Different users can have different defined roles and rights, so they only see what you want them to see. Now, how to start with the EMR? First thing, choose the right EMR for you. In a single practice, OPD of 15 to 20, you can go with a simple EMR. But if you're a bigger setup, then maybe an HMS or an EMR which can be upgraded to an HMS. The vendor should be approachable and should have a good service record. Very, very, very important. Customization can be done, but initial stages don't do too much of customization. Go with the flow. Later, once you get comfortable with it, then go for the customization, because if you do too much of customization initially, you'll get all confused and all over the place. Selecting the EMR, I say, is like marriage. Have a long courtship, decide which EMR you want to marry to, because if you want to change EMR later, the divorce can become very painful because all your data is there. So be very careful before you select your EMR. So have a long courtship if you want to, but take your time and select the right EMR. Do not give up paper immediately, because you have to have a backup initially. So always have a paper record for the first 6 months to 1 year. Well-defined data backup system has to be there so that you don't lose the data. So you have to have a periodic backups being done either on the cloud and a physical backup. Have a proper timeline for doing that. Train your doctors and staff, reward them for adopting to the EMR, show them the benefits that they are going to be having. Start slow. the EMR comes with so many features, you can't use all of them. I've been using EMR for past 20 years plus. Still, I'm using about 30-40% of the capacities of my EMR right now that I'm having. So don't be in a hurry to use everything. Take it one step at a time. Now, I'm just showing some examples of what we have done with our EMR. We have integrated our WhatsApp with our EMR. So the appointment, when the patient gets an appointment, he gets a message from the EMR that your appointment is confirmed for this time with center, everything. Then he's given a few options that he can click on these. He can check which location is there, visit instructions, disease information.
Vinay, you'll have to
Just
wind up.
last.
Yeah.
So, for example, if he clicks on the location, he gets the various locations with the Google Maps coordinates. If he clicks on the disease information, he clicks on the disease, he gets some basic information on the disease. He's taken to my website so he can know more about disease. When the patient goes back, he's given a form about satisfaction. And whenever the patient clicks on good, he's sent another form saying that why don't you rate us on Google as well? So we are somewhere taking all the good reviews and pushing them on Google. And all these you can do by using EMR or by using WhatsApp integration. Now, for those who want to use and try it out, this is my number, my hospital's number. Just send a WhatsApp, either write hi or hello, and you will see the kind of robotic integration that we have on that. You can just try on your whatever time, or you can visit my website. There you'll have a WhatsApp ka logo, and you click on that and send a chat to this particular number, and you can see how the whole robotization works for me. We also made an app for the people. So if anyone needs any help, I'm ready. I would love to help you out. This is my personal mobile number. So you can contact me for any queries that you have about integration of the EMRs. Thank you. Sorry for the long talk.
Thanks a lot, Vinay, for covering this extensively. Just one question which, I would like to clarify for the audience. If we are looking at the approximate cost, is it something which is a monthly cost or maybe a yearly cost? And what is the range where, we should have a vague idea that this is the minimum, this is the maximum that we are looking at?
See, the one I'm using is about 10 lakhs or so, but that's a bigger version. And I was just talking to my EMR guy.
People who are beginning, what
I
are
was
the
just
cheaper
talking to my
options that
EMR
we have?
guy today because I knew this question will come in. So he's the one who's working for me. He has come up with a package of 5,000 rupees per month, and that includes 3 licenses. And everything is taken care of, the cloud services and everything. So one for the reception, one for the Optum, one for the doctor. So you need at least 3 accounts to have effective use. Of course, you can increase. I've got about 100 accounts at my place because every person has got their own IDs and everything is happening. Every visiting doctor has their own ID. So that's like 5,000 a month is, again, not too steep.
So I think I agree. And, I think this is very important. Initially, as doctors, we are always very, very hesitant. Prescriptions likhna haath se bahut hi simple lagta hai, and you have to type and you think that you'll be wasting time. But trust me, itne sare drop-down menus hote hain, you're really fast. So, once I started doing it, and as Vinay very rightly said, once it's not working, you feel, oh my God, ab type karke haath ke likh ke dena padega. So I think we have to begin and we have to start using these EMRs. There are a lot of options available, cloud-based, simple, health picks which are common, which are not dedicated for ophthalmology. One can start and using any platform, and then you can, change gradually and build upon that. So thank you, Vinay. And with this, we'll have last topic for the instruction course, which is, I think, very, very important, that do we need to market ourselves? And Dr. Mayank will be talking about this. Dr. Mayank?
Right. Thank you, Dr. Parul. I will be discussing regarding the marketing for an eye surgeon, a solo practitioner like us. Is it a necessity or an option? I am practicing at Handwani, which is near Nainital, and feel free to contact me whenever you want. Right. So we will be discussing these topics into why is it important, what are the effective marketing strategies, how to build a personal brand for an eye surgeon, and then how to evaluate what we have done. So the landscape is changing, healthcare landscape is changing fast. As we know, now there's increasing competition, corporates are coming up, various TPAs and insurances are there. So an eye surgeon has to adapt to these changes and stand out in the crowd so as he can attract more patients. And not only that, the patients are now empowered. They have all the information right on the tip of their fingers. So the surgeon has to, again, work more harder and come to his patient's notice. For this, professional visibility is important, and that is the reason why we should all be considering marketing as a very important tool. Before we start thinking of marketing, there are some code of ethics which are important, which we should know and follow so that ethical marketing is important. How is surgeon-patient relationship changing? How the marketing will help to develop first impressions amongst the patients even before the patient comes to you. When he's searching on the web or any other social media, it can help in developing a stronger patient-doctor relationship prior to his actually meeting you. There are various communication channels which we'll be discussing, and most importantly, not only the patient footfall coming to your OPD, but retaining those patients back and keeping them engaged through education and other various feedback mechanisms is important. What does marketing help us? It helps us to differentiate from our competitors. It helps us to showcase our unique skill sets, different new technologies which we might be having, and various patient care approaches. And this kind of marketing will help us fight near competitions, near corporates, and other places. We have to analyze the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis for a marketing. The strengths could be that it can leverage your advanced technologies, specialized expertise, and focus on patient eye care. Whereas weaknesses could be that if you have a long wait time or limited services offering or outdated facilities, you can come out to know that. And opportunities could be with the coming telemedicine, community outreach programs, and niche eye care could be newer places where you can find opportunities. And regarding the threats, as we know that there is a changing reimbursement policies, the competitive market entrants, and economic downturns like we had in COVID, these can be identified and addressed proactively. Regarding various effective marketing techniques, basically there are two kinds of marketing techniques. Could be a digital marketing technique and non-digital marketing technique. As of today, the digital marketing technique is outclasses any other modes of marketing. So most important would be a website optimization. Website is just like a business card of yours, which is in the digital form. The patient can access to that. And it can be a resource for patient education as well. Various search engine optimization techniques can also help your visibility and bringing the patient back to your OPD. And social media engagement can help share insights and showcase your successful surgeries or patient testimonials. There could be various contents. Contents could be an educational contents where the doctor can post some blogs, videos, and other videos, information, so that he can inform the public regarding the services he has. It could be a storytelling where a successful patient can give his own experiences, connect with other potential patients at an emotional level, and demonstrate the work of the surgeon. Or it could be an authority building where the doctor can show himself as a thought leader in ophthalmology and show his publications, his speaking engagement in forum, and other professional practices. This all helps in networking and reference. The importance of building a network and other healthcare providers lets you gain more reference from places where you don't know. Like if I'm practicing at a smaller center in Hindwani, I can have reference from places like Bangalore or higher cities where patients don't know me, but the doctors might know me through these forums. You could have a patient referral program where satisfied patients can help you refer more patients through word of mouth, and your involvement in community is also important, where you can keep in touch with such patients, show your presence and professional visibility. As to regarding your traditional marketing techniques, could be print, public, as well as direct mail campaigning. We know that these techniques were working at time and point, but with everybody having mobiles and access to digital marketing, it is time we should on-shift and aggressively work on digital marketing, because our competitors, let us say corporates, are doing much more work than what we think we are doing. At the end of the day, we have to develop surgeon as a personal brand. Doctors in your setup would be is looked as a brand, and the patient searches for the name of a doctor to reach his OPD. Personal branding helps in differentiating themselves and creating a memorable identity. A brand message should be clear, consistent to his personal surgeon's values, expertise, and commitments, and visual identity, like having same type of logos, color schemes, and imagery that reflects surgeon's professional persona. Most importantly, online reputation management is one place where doctors have to be very vigilant. Patient giving reviews, like Dr. Garuri has explained his ways of correcting reviews, which is very interesting, are important because from there patients can connect with the other patients' emotional aspects. Crisis management in case of a negative publicity or patient dissatisfaction in any way, one has to be ready to minimize the impact and monitoring these tools so that we can act in professional and timely manner. For this on personal brand building, you have to have a personalized patient experience. The importance is not only the patient faster loyalty building up, it goes beyond patient first point of contact to post-operative care. And effective communication would help in a satisfied patient and patients becoming your brand ambassadors. It is a continuous learning and improvement process. You have to keep yourself updated in your technologies, attend various meetings, and practice and incorporate them in your practice. Have various feedback loops like Google reviews and other places, and adapt to newer changes. And at the end of the day, we have to see how does it impact your surgical practice. We have various key performance indicators like website traffic, patient inquiries, conversion rates between OPD to IPD, and how your counselor is working, and analyze how the cost is beneficial. Cost-benefit analysis has to be done so that we can keep them ready. And patient testimonials are very important, as I told you. So we have various ways of gaining patient testimonials. Google reviews is one of them. You could have Facebook and Instagram pages as well. Have various surveys. These on platforms do give you insight where you can see how you have been doing considering past 15 days and 15 1 month. And most importantly, the word of mouth impact, where patient finally becomes your brand ambassador, is what we aim for. And for all that, we need to make his experience before he comes to the OPD, his contact with you, after his contact, and the entire process very seamless, and so that he can make many more ambassadors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayank. Anybody has any questions? So I just wanted to add a thing that, in today's world, it is very important for us to, though we may be doing excellent work, but it is important to market yourself also, because, that is how people are going to know about you, what you are doing. And social media is a very good platform. Again, if we talk about solo practitioners, it is sometimes the question that comes to our mind that how much money do we spend on marketing ourselves? So one thing which is very clear that, print media is kind of out. People are hardly reading newspaper. So something, if you're publishing and wasting your money in print, I think that is something one can think about, maybe rethink. And budget can be decided on, whatever, look at your pocket, and once you do something, you'll see the results, and maybe then gradually you keep increasing your budget. So, if you look at bigger companies, maybe something like i7 and all, we keep hearing they have huge budgets on marketing, but as a solo practitioner, maybe make a limit, maybe 2,000, 5,000, whatever you feel is right, and you'll see the results, and then you can slowly increase the budget. Anybody wants to add anything?
I would like to say that if you want to make a video or an Instagram reel or something like that, you have an inertia of how to start. And we feel that we need to be perfect, we need to have the right weight, the right, thing. So we are not ready to start. The best thing is start, you will keep on improving with time. And make it small, because attention span is very, very low. People don't want to watch your video more than 30 seconds. So it has to, you have to engage. So what I've seen is that people who have that engagement skill are more successful as influencers or whatever.
So there is something called as AI-based marketing, which they now say it's almost completely going to replace digital marketing. So anybody has any idea about that?
There are many softwares and AI-based marketing techniques where the entire presentation of the hospital, or it can write you a write-up, very beautiful write-ups. One of the things which I did was I took my Google reviews page. I went to a performance tab. There is a performance tab where you can see what are the keywords the patients are looking at to find where you are, what is good working for you. Those keywords can be used and make a very good write-up, and everything is done by AI, and that you can use in your website and other things, and you can get a better feedback and click out.
That's a lovely idea to understand what your patients are already appreciating about you, and then using that as your pitch. I think that's great. I think I just had to end with what Ashish said. You know, I'm doing some course, and one of the business mentors told me a very interesting guru mantra, SSG, start simple, ghatia. And he says version 1 is better than version 0, version none. So, don't be hesitant about being very good before you start. Start karo, apne aap improve kar loge. So I think, and that is a very powerful tip, SSG.
That's the take-home message, that you have to start with EMR, you have to start with the accreditation process, market yourself. And you can do it yourself, yes, I think. Yeah.
And you are not able to do in the first video, so that makes the whole problem.
I think the time is up, and thank you so much for staying back, and I hope you guys got some important points for running a successful practice. Thank you so much, and I think all of us can have a picture, yeah.